My name is Claudia Moncada, and I'm an MA student at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. I'm interested in outreach and education, as well as bilingual science communication. In my lesson, The Case of the Missing Penguins, students will be investigating the Western Antarctic Peninsula and Adelie penguins, a species that has been declining for decades now. Students will step into the shoes of the scientists, collecting and analyzing data to investigate potential climate change-related drivers for these declines in penguin populations. This lesson was written with 7th grade life science standards in mind, but can be adapted for high school students as well. Before the lesson begins, students will be given a brief introduction to the Western Antarctic Peninsula and our study species, Adelie penguins. After this introduction, they will make a KWL graphic organizer, or a Know, Want to Know, Learned graphic organizer, to get them thinking about climate change and how it can affect the Earth and ecosystems like Antarctica. They will then receive a case file with their data, and the lesson will begin. In Part 1, students will collect and graph data on Adelie penguin pairs. Counting beads that represent the abundance of Adelie penguin pairs from 1991 to 2020 in 5-year periods, they will then make a line graph of this data and analyze their plots for potential trends. They will see in these graphs that Adelie penguin populations have indeed declined in this time period. In Part 2, they will investigate possible reasons for this decline. Similarly to Part 1, they will be counting and graphing beads that correspond with krill abundance inside the stomachs of Adelie penguins in these same 5-year periods from 1991 to 2020. Also in this case file will be a graph showing sea ice coverage during the same time period. Students will be asked to pick and explain one of these two variables as the reason that Adelie penguin populations have decreased, based on the data they have collected and analyzed. In the final section of this lesson, students will learn that scientists still have not determined the reason for Adelie penguin population decline. They will then come up with their own hypotheses to help answer this question, and will reflect on some ways that they can be stewards of our Earth and oceans from the comfort of their own homes. Once the lesson is complete, students will finish filling in the KWL charts, and the instructor can lead a closing discussion on what they've learned. An optional extension activity would be to have students research a species or ecosystem of their own choosing to see how climate change may be affecting those as well. Included in this lesson is an extended glossary in Spanish and some resources for glossaries in other languages, which ELL students might find particularly useful during this lesson. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you find this lesson useful in your classrooms.